So hey guys, welcome back to another study stream, 60 minutes at 6, where we go through study spots from Sunday's stream. If you're new to the stream, what usually happens is I mark hands on Sunday and then we go ahead and study them during the week. So today and Thursday. I'm not sure if Thursday will happen this week because of my girlfriend's birthday. We'll see if she is okay with me continuing the study. But yeah, it might not happen on Thursday, guys. So this might be it for studying this week. We've got 4 hands to go through, and we tend to spend about 15 minutes on each hand. So we get four hands done in an hour, and yeah, should be pretty good. So let's dive into it. Cutoff opens for a min raise. And off around 25 bigs, and I think this is just a very simple 3-bet call spot, but I went for a call instead for some reason. Not 100% sure in game why. I know that there's definitely some flatting at 25 big blinds with ace queen suited on the button, but I don't think it's from like when you're playing against the cutoff or the hijack. I think it's like the hand's just too strong. Like you just want to 3-bet, get it in. Maybe if this guy opens, we get to do some 3-betting. Sorry, we get to do some flatting on the button, but generally just want to 3-bet, get it in. If we had 25 bigs, just yeah, I think again, just 3-betting, getting it in is good. So yeah, I think 3-bet, get it in is probably the way to go here. The flop comes Jack 7 deuce rainbow. One way I think he's supposed to check quite a lot. He does check. And then we have a decision between betting and checking. Now, as I said, I don't think we should actually have this hand. So we could maybe treat this like, okay, well, next time we're not going to be flatting ace queen suited on the button here, but maybe we have like ace 10 of hearts or ace 9 of hearts, and we can see what we're doing with those hands instead. Or maybe like ace 10 of clubs, ace 10 of spades as well. So I actually went for the value bet on the flop. Now, thinking about the fact that he's supposed to check the flop a huge amount of the time, we're going to get check raised here quite a lot. And at the moment, we've got a pretty strong hand. But as soon as we bet and he calls, or bet and he continues, his range gets that much stronger. And suddenly our hand is, we can't really fold. We have 2 overs, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. But we're not loving it all of a sudden. Like he can definitely check raise like a jack, and he can check raise over pairs. And so, yeah, I think that check is probably going to be better, but we'll have a look. I mean, maybe that's wrong. Turn, I think, is a pretty easy check back. Now, like if we bet and get jammed on, we'd have to call. We can beat some combo draws. Like he can check jam, I don't know, with 10-9 of hearts, 10-8 of hearts, 9-8 of hearts. 9-8 of hearts is a pretty nice one, I think. So, yeah, anyway, I decided to check back with showdown value. 6 of spades, he checks again, and I think we just have enough showdown value to show down and to check back. I think that checking is going to make more money than betting. And we could still be ahead of some ace X or king X hands with backdoors. It'd be interesting to see what he's supposed to do with a hand like queen 10. Like he might even, queen 10 of clubs, for example, might just go for a check raise on the flop. It'd be interesting to see what he's supposed to do with that. And then if on this run out, like he probably doesn't check queen 10. So we're really looking to like king queen and ace 10, ace 9, ace 8, those kind of hands to show down against. So yeah, I did check back, and he ends up having ace jack, and I think this is a really nice check raise on the flop, and we'll have a look at this. But like when I go small here, his hand is really strong for, I mean, it's top pair, top kicker, but it's strong for this stack size as well, where he can just stack off now. So sure, we can have like aces and kings here, but we're also going to have hands like queen jack off, king jack off, some hands that he can get a ton of value from in that sense, in that spot. So yeah, I don't know why he went for the check call with ace jack. Maybe he was going for check call, check jam on the turn, but then river seems like I feel like he probably just has to value bet. But then I wouldn't be getting to the river with ace jack in this spot, so I'm not sure what I would do. But anyway, let's have a look at the spot in Pio. Q Tunneler, thanks for subscribing, really appreciate that. And we've got Elon B94. Pepin, did I get your follow as well on Twitch? We're not far away, guys. I tried to get there on Sunday, but we're not far away from 2,500 followers. So we're 19 away. So it'd be amazing if we could get there in today's stream. If you if you're loving the stream, go ahead and share it on social media and tell your friends about it. And also, if you are not loving the stream, then tell me. Okay, so yeah, we were going to get the hand up. Not really sure which one it is. Is it this one? I think so. Jack 7 deuce. Yep. Okay, yeah, so as predicted, it's a really high frequency check from him. You can see that's what all of this green means. If you are new to Pio, you'd not seen solvers before, then what it's going to do is sort of basically color code the different hands on this matrix, this 13 by 13 grid, which shows us the different hands that we can possibly have. So, you know, for example, Jack 5 suited not in the opener's range, so that's why it's grayed out. And he's at 10-6 suited only in there a little bit of the time. Same with Jack 9 off, Queen 9 off in there quite a lot of the time. But then, you know, you can see all of the others as well. Pretty much full frequency, all of these hands. So you can see that check is the green, and then we've got a small bet for this kind of salmon-y pink color, and then a darker red color for the big geometric sizing. So geometric sizing is going to be around half pot here. So you can see that there's none of that really, like trace amounts, and then you've got the jam as well, but that's not happening either. So high frequency check, and that's what he did. Ace Jack off, that's what he did. And then if we hover over Ace Queen, I fudged this a little bit because I just put in Ace Queen suited 20% of the time, because otherwise we wouldn't really know what we're supposed to do with this hand. So maybe, you know, if I'm going to miss the fact that we should just be 3-betting getting this in pre 20% of the time, then I've, you know, just put that in just to see what happens. And you can see that it's just pure check, right? There's no betting going on. Evening to Evolution Retro Gaming in the Twitch chat. How's it going? So yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's probably not a massive mistake. You can see that the difference in EV between betting small and checking is really, really small. You can see it in the bottom right-hand corner of the Pio screen now. But yeah, I think check clearly looks good. I mean, again, we shouldn't be having this hand in this spot, so let's not sweat it too much. We just 3-bet get it in next time. But let's have a look at some other hands. So betting kings and queens, high frequency, king jack off, queen jack off sometimes. I think this is a pretty interesting spot, given that he's supposed to check all the time. What I see a lot is people have top pair and always bet it. And then what this means is that further down the line, you're going to believe that, okay, well, in position never has a jack because he always bets, right? He always bets his top pairs. So, like, I just don't think that's true. I don't think that's correct, and you can see that it's not happening in the solver. So I don't think you need to always just, you know, stab when you've got top pair, especially when it's a board when out of position is going to be doing, you know, a decent amount of check raising, and you don't, you know, you don't want to be clinging on to. I mean, to be honest, you have top pair, so you're probably not going anywhere. But you know, you want to have some top pair to be able to call turn as well. So every time I kind of talk like this about, okay, you know, you're going to want to have this for when, you know, for on the turn. The solver's not really thinking in terms of like that. It just believes that checking here has the highest EV. You know, checking is higher EV than betting most of the time. But so when I talk like that, I'm trying to humanize it, right? I'm trying to understand it and work out why, right? So we, you know, if we just bet all of our Jack X hands here, then on the turn, like whatever it happens to be, we are massively capped, right? We never have top pair. We, you know, occasionally we're going to improve to 2 pair or a straight or something like that when we check. But, you know, overall, we're just it's just not a good spot. So we want to do some checking with the Jack X. We are going to have pocket jacks here occasionally off 25 bigs. So we would check that. I mean, the hand's just so strong, we're struggling to get value from too much. But yeah, I was saying like ace 10 and ace 9, maybe, you know, we can treat those similarly. Not quite the same because, you know, ace queen of hearts has 2 overs, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, whereas ace 10 is just 1 over, but still has the backdoor draws. So yeah, pretty interesting to see that. Ace 7 betting pretty frequently, and then there's some betting going on here as well. Ace 3 and ace deuce doing some betting. The pretty like biggest thing for me that jumps out is that we want to be using this big sizing as well, this geometric sizing, so roughly half pot. CNS Dota, thanks for the follow. So yeah, something, yeah, a couple of misses then. We should have checked. And if we are going to bet, we want to be using this this bigger size, I think, overall with our betting range. I did bet small, and you can see that ace jack off does check raise really aggressively. I mean, pretty much pure raise. He does the same with kings and queens. I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and then mixes in some bluffs. I mean, I'm not sure population gonna check raise these. This little pocket here with the backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw type scenario. At 10-9 possibly, 9-8 possibly. Looks more realistic, more reasonable. So yeah, I mean, if we think about like why I just bet ace queen, right? We're not really getting any better hands to fold, but we can get, we're certainly getting some worse hands to call. So it's not that bad. But I think checking would be better. So he does just call. I think it was the 5 of hearts. Let me just check. Yep, 5 of hearts. And now we are just going into check mode again. Like, we shouldn't have this pre. We shouldn't be betting on the flop. That's why there's this tiny amount of the hand in here. So yeah, we should just be going for a check. It does look like it wants to bet a lot here. The problem is that we've gone down a node that's only like 11% here, and like all of a sudden, like he's going to do some raising on the flop, and then not do any leading on this card. But the line here is only 5.5%, so we have to be a little bit cautious. It's not like it's like a 0.17% line, so it's not the end of the world. It's going to be a little bit better than that, or a lot better than that, should I say? Okay, so let's have a look at our turn strategy. Hopefully, you guys can see this. So sets are going to bet, but we don't have too many of them. Over pairs, kings and queens are going to continue to bet. We should have bet these big on the flop. Aces is going to mix. Top pairs, mainly betting most of them for value now. Jack 9, Jack 8 does a little bit of checking. Okay, second pair, ace 7, still going for the bet. More frequently with ace 7 of hearts. So middle pair or second pair and the flush draw. Then we start checking with these hands, third pairs, low pairs, still a bit of betting here with ace 2 of hearts, decent equity. Pocket threes is an interesting one. And then we have a gut shot here. Yeah, interesting. Ace 3 betting more frequently than ace 4. Ace 6 betting, ace 8 betting. I mean, these are going to be pretty low equity hands, as you can see at this point. Ace 10 and ace queen, though, just going to be good enough to go for the check back. MJ14, thanks for the follow. So that's pretty interesting. King X looks like it's doing a lot of betting, and nothing type hands doing a lot of, well, a reasonable amount of betting. Let's just hover over this queen 10 off, because I think this is something we looked at in a previous session as well. You can see in the bottom right hand corner that we're pulling the trigger here a lot more frequently when we have a heart in our hands. So you can see like queen 10 off with a heart. Sorry, queen of spades, 10 of hearts, queen of hearts, 10 of spades, queen of hearts, 10 of diamonds, queen of hearts, 10 of clubs, queen of diamonds, 10 of hearts, and queen of clubs, 10 of hearts, all betting reasonably frequently. Interesting to see like queen of diamonds, 10 of clubs in this spot as well. I'm just trying to think why that might be. Igor Ruz, thanks for the follow. But yeah, so just betting a lot more frequently with the heart, having that heart blocker and being able to use it potentially to bluff river as well. Combo draws, we're going to bet. Flush draws, we're going to mainly bet. We're going to check back with ace 10 of hearts. So this is the kind of hand I was thinking, like ace queen of hearts. We have shown a value now with ace high, decent ace high, and we have a flush draw. So I'm glad to see that doing the same thing as this, even though this shouldn't really be in there. 8 out straight draw, quite a lot of checking, and 4 out straight draw. Ace 3 betting more than ace 4. 10-8 doing a bit more, well, a lot more betting than 10-9. Okay, so it did go check, check. River was the 6 of spades. So I also want to see what he's supposed to do with his hand. And as you can see, like he's not supposed to land on this river with any ace jack off. So it's a little bit skewed. But interestingly, if the board did run out like this and he did call, you can see that the check, there is, a lot of checking, but really this combo, this hand shouldn't be getting to this street. It should be check raising flop. So you can see that all the other Jack X hands that do land here, King Jack and Queen Jack, do just go for the value bet. So if they did go for this half pot bet, what are we doing with our hand? Interesting. We're gonna ship it in. So what are we trying to get to fold? It's a pretty aggressive line. I mean, I know that again now we've gone down a branch in the game tree that we shouldn't be. I mean, we shouldn't have ace queen of hearts in the first place. Then we shouldn't be betting on the flop. And then lots of things have happened that really shouldn't do. So we're definitely going down branches to the game tree that we shouldn't be, for sure. But yeah, what are we trying to get to fold? So we're not trying to get, well, there's some Jack X hands folding, which is interesting. We are getting like 10s, 9s, and 8s to fold. Pocket 4s, some 7x. So that's pretty interesting. We block his calling range as well with ace. We have ace queen of hearts, so like blocking ace 7 of hearts. But yeah, block some of his folding. I mean, we beat these hands as well, I guess. So yeah, so I guess we're getting 7x and under pairs to fold, and even some Jack X as well. I mean, I guess it's folding Queen Jack because our bluffs are mainly going to come from ace Queen, and maybe some other Queen X. Yeah, you can see like Queen 8, for example, a little bit of Queen 9. I guess that's the reason why the solver's doing what it's doing. So yeah, I think we'll wrap things up on that hand because like I think he can still value bet river, and we have to make a decision with our hand. I probably wouldn't have found the jam, but I may well have called. I was trying to think like, oh yeah, because that's what we were going to find out, right? We were going to see what is he supposed to do with those broadways that floated the flop like these. So obviously we block king queen of hearts, but king queen of diamonds can bet. King queen off does a decent amount of betting. So 9-8 improves to a straight, but 10-9 and 10-8 do some betting. So there's definitely some bluffs in there. So if you're studying this kind of spot and you're trying to ask yourself like what kind of hands bluff here, then using solvers can help guide you in the right direction. And I think like it might not, the players you're playing against in low and mid stakes MTTs, they might not be finding as many bluffs as the solver, or they're definitely not finding as many bluffs as the solver. But like the obvious ones like the 10-8 and the 10-9, I think what are they going to do? They're just going to check them on the river and just lose to ace high or whatever random hand we have that's better than 10 high. So I just don't think that's I think they have to pull the trigger. They have to bluff some of the time. And so I think it's really useful to use the solver in this way. Okay, right. This is a pretty nice hand. But I've got lots of questions. So we open a6 of hearts, we get called by the hijack. Flop comes 10-6-6. I go for a huge bet here. One of the biggest things I talked about on the stream on Sunday was identifying leaks and talked about my own leaks as well. I'm like perfectly happy to tell you about them because this is why we're here, right? So I want to play. I play poker in order to like highlight spots that I then can work on and then have the content, study spots basically, content for you guys, but also for me. Like I want to study these spots. And one of the biggest leaks in my own game is playing out of position. So like playing in position versus a big blind, super easy. And it's all relative, right? So like maybe like it's a weaker part of my game. It might not, looking at some of these spots today, you might think that, you're playing it differently and you're not playing it, quite right. But I think that, I mean, to be fair, like playing out of position in single raise pots is probably going to be you're going to be worse at that than you are playing against the big blind for a few reasons. One is that, you have usually against the big blind, you have a stronger range and you get to play in position for the whole of the hand. So it just becomes easier. And also it just happens way more frequently. Whereas this situation doesn't happen that, it still happens fairly frequently, but not as frequently as playing against the big blind. So, so one of the things I thought like on this particular board, if we're going to bet, we go for a big bet. This is the geometric sizing, so that's the bet size that I chose. The 5 of hearts on the turn. This is where I think I potentially get things wrong, but you know, maybe not. So when he calls flop, I think he's going to have like 2 overs and a backdoor flush draw, a reasonable amount. Now we don't block like the king queen of hearts, the queen jack of hearts, the king jack of hearts, those kind of hands. So that would be a good reason to continue to bet. But we do block like ace queen of hearts or ace jack of hearts, like that kind of thing. So I thought I actually blocked too many continues. I'm not sure how many 6x he's going to have here. That, you know, we raised an EP, hijack, flats. Like, I'm just not sure there's too many in there. But he's also going to have some 10x. He's going to have like 7s, 8s, 9s. He is going to have those heart draws as well. So there is still stuff to get value from. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we're supposed to continue on the turn or we're supposed to check. So I did check. He then bets, and I just go for a call. So again, maybe this is a spot to go for a check raise. I don't know though, like there's already 30 bigs in the middle. Like what size do we make it? And we just jam now? It just seems like overkill. So yeah, I think check call is probably fine. We river the flush, and the question now is like, are we ever supposed to donk this river? I would say no, because, well, in game I felt like because we block, you know, we got the 6x covered, and but yeah, we don't block. Like it'd be interesting to know if like it's any different on like a 10-10-6 board where we have ace 10 and somehow backed into a flush. I think that would be interesting, because then we suddenly block a lot of the kind of hands that he could call with, like weaker 10x. But he has like, yeah, I think in game I'm just not thinking. I wasn't thinking quite well enough about the kind of 6x that he could have. So maybe there is some donking on this river. So lots of questions to answer. Do we bet big on the flop? What do we do on the turn? Should we bet or check? When we do check and he bets, what do we do? And on the river, do we ever find any donks? Just to show the result, if you guys are interested. I'm not very interested in the result. I mean, sometimes it helps with like population reads, but most of the time I'm, you know, not too fussed. He ends up having pocket fours, and we scoop the pot. So let's have a look. Okay, so here's the 10-6-6 spot, and you can see ace-6 does go for a bet very, very frequently. And yeah, we are using this big bet and check. So the big bet's going to come from a lot of these overcard type hands and top pair and trips. Obviously, as you can see, we've got some trips down here as well. And then let's have a look here. So like pocket 10s is going to go for a check. Quads is going to go for a check. Pocket 6s, and we've got some other checks down here as well. Interesting to see these hands just go for a check too. So these suited hands look like it's, you know, favoring having the backdoor flush draw, you know, for the future. Like, you know, you could turn a flush draw, for example. And also you block some continues, whereas the diamonds, you know, you block the folds, right? So when we bet big here, if we hover over like a hand like ace 9 of diamonds, like it's going to fold all the time. So you've got ace x of diamonds, you know, you don't want to have that in this spot. But even a hand like ace jack of diamonds does start to fold here versus the big bet. Okay, so we did find the big bet, and he called. He had pocket fours, remember? So I mean, the EV is not great on a call, but if you're going to make mistakes like that, then great. So what the turn was the 5 of hearts. So do we continue betting? That was the question. And you can see that pretty big miss from me here. You just got to continue firing the money in. So, you know, we do that. I mean, he shouldn't have fours. He has it a little bit of the time. But yeah, we should just continue to bet. Like, we're still getting called by these 10x hands. You see that king jack of hearts, queen jack of hearts, the hands I mentioned here. Obviously, we block ace jack of hearts. You can't have that. We block this hand as well. King queen. So it's this sort of pocket here, and then we don't block these 10x here either. And yeah, we block some of these like this. So this is what I was thinking about. So like we block like ace 9 of hearts, but he doesn't really have it. Thanks for the follow, so Zarand. It doesn't really have it. You can see there's not much left. Same with ace 8, because we bet so big on the flop, right? So we go back here. and not continuing with those hands. So it's a little bit like a light bulb moment for me, right? In terms of like thinking about when we do go that big size, they are still going to fold these hands. So I shouldn't, like, I'm thinking about it incorrectly, I think. Thinking that these hands are going to continue versus the big bet. So when the heart comes, we block a lot of the hands we're trying to get value from, all right? On Twitch, JetRag says, so much value from 10s. Think population, don't think you bet big on the flop with the 6. I think that's probably reasonable, although we, you know, maybe we bet big more frequently with an overpair. But yeah, I think that's a reasonable question. So yeah, let's have a look at our other bluffs there. And we're going to have some flush draws now. So we did bet a lot of those big cards with, you know, backdoor flush draws. And you can see that that's where we're finding a lot of our bets from on this turn. So I think that's pretty cool to see. We've got those heart blockers coming through here. You can see king, queen off with a heart, betting a lot more frequently than without. Same with the ace queen, ace jack, ace 10 is just a value bet, but, you know, checking sometimes. Doing some checking with 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s again. And we've got some straight draws in here, so finding some bluffs in there. So yeah, I think that's good to see. If he does have 4s, he is supposed to find this 10 big blind bet some of the time. Shout out to K Rule for the follow. So what are we supposed to do with our ace 6? Okay, so we should have just bet on the turn, but if we didn't, we should be going for the raise here. Interesting to see that it does raise, like, you know, just under half of your stack. Not sure what we're doing that as a bluff. Okay, here's some hands. Zugari, thanks for the follow. 8-7 of spades, diamonds, and clubs, doing it fairly aggressively. Queen jack, finding some bluffs in here as well. So yeah, I mean, if we're always just going to have a 6 here, then we probably shouldn't raise because our opponent's just going to fold. But if we've got some bluffs in there as well, looks pretty good to me. So we did just go for the call, and then the river was the 3 of hearts. And okay, so the question we had was, do we ever do any donking on this river? And the answer is a big fat no. You can see it checks almost 100% of the time. We check, and yeah, he's supposed to check back with 4s. And yeah, it does do some bluffing, I guess. He's going to have like these suited hands, you know, where he's floated the flop and then just not improved. Some of those are going to have improved to a flush on the river. Edgy Dots, thanks for the follow. And then, so yeah, he's going to have to bluff with some of them. But you can see like 10x just goes for a check back. So it's this sort of pocket here, hands that he's going to choose to bluff. 9-8 looks reasonable as well. And then like the lowest equity hands, I mean, not 7-6 because trips, but 8-7, I think. I mean, just his equity is so poor. This is I think it's the worst hand he has in this spot. Just suddenly decides to bluff. And you can see some bluffs with like ace queen off with a heart as well. Obviously not if he has ace of hearts, queen of spades, because he can't have that because we block that. But yeah, those are the kind of bluffs that he can find. So let's go back to the hand. So we should just continue to bet the turn. We don't do any donking on this river. And he is supposed to find some bluffs with like ace queen off with the queen of hearts, for example, or king jack of spades, king jack of clubs, that kind of thing. Let's just go back really quickly, see what's he trying to get to fold on this river. So we do actually, you know, we're supposed to fold some 10x. We fold ace high, fold some 10x here as well. We fold some under pairs. Yeah, so I mean the bluffs, you know, going to get a decent amount of our range to fold, so it looks good to me. And then you can see why the blockers are so important, because, you know, we just have a snap call with ace queen of hearts. So if he has an ace of hearts or a queen of hearts in his hand, then, you know, he can go for that bluff. So I think that's really cool to see in this spot. CNS Dota on Twitch. Top content, mate. Do you also stream playing MTTs? Yeah, I do every Sunday, 10 a.m. GMT, which is UK time, till I finish. So it's usually 6 to 7 hours. So 10 a.m. till 4 or 5 p.m. on a Sunday. Okay, what's the next hand? Oh, this is a beaut. This is a very, very cool hand. So I'm going to get your feedback here, guys, because I want to see what you would do in these spots. First decision we have, pre-flop. What's the play? Q Tunneler has a question here. It says, sorry, just got back and didn't want to interrupt, but the ace-6 suited was an under the gun open. Is that standard for you with that stack size or just the occasional light open? It's a good question. So everyone else is working on this one. Like, what would you do with queen jack off here? Are you calling? Are you three betting? Are you folding? I will just go back quickly to just show you what my range looks like. This is what it looks like. In fact, I can do this instead. So I'm opening ace-3 suited plus, mainly ace-4 suited, but yeah, pretty much all of ace-3 suited as well, to be honest. So yeah, from under the gun, I think we're 60 big blinds deep-ish. I would open all of these hands, yeah. Hopefully that helps. So guys, what are we doing then with the queen jack offsuit here? Are we going for a call, a 3-bet, or a fold? Okay, so we've got some votes for call. We've got call, don't want to blow up the pot. Maybe just call as you don't get anything that dominates you to fold this deep. I think that's fair. 3-bet fold, 3-bet makes more without a read. Scooby Boobies, thanks for the follow. So we're about 80 big blinds deep. Versus the hijack. So I'm looking at some GTO solutions for pre-flop, and queen jack off is 3-betting around half of the time and flatting a tiny amount as well. But yeah, not a huge amount. So I think 3-bet, is probably the way to go. Crossio, thanks for the follow. Says Aran, this stack size just 3-bet or fold queen jack off versus MP. Okay. Yeah, so I would say this, this is hijack. Scooby Booby is really cool concept. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here and checking out the stream. Yeah, so I think that we should 3-bet here, looking at these pre-flop solutions and calling like a tiny amount at the time. So maybe it's a miss already. We, should just 3-bet. Okay, so 10-8-5 flop. He goes for a big bet. What are you guys doing here? On the flop versus the big bet, we have 2 overs and a gut shot. I did miss some comments on YouTube, guys. Apologies for that. Raphael says sometimes call, sometimes 3-bet. Not good enough to call, so 3-bet. Yeah, I think 3-bet's good. I think that's what I should have done in this spot. Okay, so we've got some votes for call. We've got Peel 1. And some more votes for call. Okay, streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, guys. Whichever one is better for you. We've got, looks like a raise to 10 to 12 big blinds maybe. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Prefer calling with a club in the hand. Does that mean you're folding this hand, or just, you just recognize that you've got more EV if you have queen jack off with a club here? Raise is sexy. Okay, so yeah, I think we need to look at this, like what we're supposed to be doing on the flop. I think mixing is standard. Okay, cool. I just went for the call. 9 of clubs on the turn. He checks. So what's the plan now, guys? Are we are we checking or betting? And if we're betting, what size are we going to choose? Okay, so we've got vote for bet 60%. Defo want to bet. We should be betting near pot. Lead the turn, half pot. Lonex, thanks for the follow. We've got another vote for like bet 60 or 70%. I prefer small sizing, betting about 5 bigs. Okay, so like so many different ideas. I think no one's going for a check though. Everyone's just happy to bet. Here's a quick question for you: Are we ready to stack off with this hand? So if we bet and he raises and we call and then it's like 2 of hearts on the river and he jams, like is everyone happy to felt this hand, for want of a better expression? Okay, so we do have some other comments now. I don't think we get 2 more streets, so we should check here. Hate to get check raised also. I think this is going back to what one of you said, that having the club in your hand would be a lot better, just blocking flushes, but also that little bit more equity, a little bit chance of improving on the river as well. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure on this turn. I went for this size, which is around 80%. Geometric sizing here would be like 17, like just a slight overbet. But I'm not sure that you're supposed to do much overbetting on this particular turn that completes Queen Jack, completes 7-6, it completes flushes. So yeah, I'm not sure. Is my thoughts on this. So this is why we marked it, because I've got loads of thoughts, and that spoiler alert, the hand gets a lot more interesting. So he goes for a call. The river is the Jack of Spades. He checks. What's everyone doing here? Betting, checking. If you're betting, what size are you betting? So question on YouTube: what does geometric size mean? So betting the geometric size means to be able to size your bet so that you can bet the same amount of the pot on the river. So for example, I just said like we bet over pot, and then on the river we'd have just over pot left as well, exactly the same fraction of the pot or percentage of the pot, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, so well, you guys are clearly much better than me. Because in game I was like, yeah, we're going to value bet here. Get ready for a big punt, guys. So you guys are saying bet and fold to a raise, fold on any bet on the river. Check back, check. We can't check call on this river because we're in position. A nitty check to be safe. We're either way ahead or way behind. Betting is pointless either way. So yeah, as I said, guys, you guys are clearly better than me. So yeah, I went for 2/3 pot bet, and he jams. So based on your answers from whether we should bet or check this river, I'm guessing that all of you would just fold this river, right? So yeah, it's interesting. We have to fold. What bluffs does he have? It's a good question. So if you watch the stream on Sunday, you will know that I got I think the expression is to get your cape out, right? To become a bit of a hero, to get the Superman cape out and make some big hero calls. But I think I think you're absolutely right with the question, what bluffs does he have? In my head, I'm like, do you know what? Like, definitely people can play like ace queen with a club in this way. So we chop with that hand. You can play some other hands like with the ace of clubs in them, right? This is what I was thinking. So I think it's a great question though. What bluffs does he have? So we can definitely use the solver to answer that. But I think this is probably one of the most interesting hands that I've butchered because I think you're absolutely right. I think river is probably a check, and turn might even be a check as well without a club. And it's because, like, I feel like I want to say we're reasonably high up. I guess we can still have king queen that's better. We can have flushes that's better. and he's just very unlikely to find a bluff in this spot. And yeah, as many of you have said in the chat, it's really hard to find bluffs in this spot. So I think, you know, in hindsight, check back river is way better than what I did. And, you know, I'm opening myself up, guys, here for criticism. Yeah, let's see what he had. Okay, so he had 10-6 of clubs. So yeah, I mean, I butchered this hand. Let's say no more about it and learn from it and see what we should have done. Okay. So this is the spot 10-8-5. Really, the first thing that I'm slightly concerned about doing with this game tree, with this solve, is that you can see that he's not supposed to use the big sizing on this board, hardly ever. It's only 3.88%, and then we're going to be raising some hands and calling some hands versus that, and so the line is going to be like a 1 or 2% line, and suddenly we're, you know, it's just not, yeah, it's just not a great solve for us anymore. But we will go down it, but I just want to highlight that, guys, for you, that he shouldn't be using this sizing. But if he did go for the small size, you can see that we mix between raising and calling, and raising a lot more frequently when we have a club in our hand, versus the big bet. Pretty much the same story. So a lot of you are saying, oh, you know, it's a mix, we can call or raise, and again, like raising more frequently with the club, but yeah, still some raising with our hand as well. So yeah, you can see here like 1.88%. It's going to get, you know, might get a bit silly, but let's continue anyway. 9 of clubs then. He now checks, and if we look at our hand, let's just remind ourselves what combo we had. Queen of spades, jack of hearts. You can see that it's checking 44% of the time and betting small 37%, and betting the size that we chose 18%. So it's not a huge miss, but I suppose if I'm using that size all the time, then we shouldn't be doing that. Again, like if you guys are looking at this this number here, where is it? Here, this line, and you're like, okay, well, this line shouldn't be happening. Like, we've gone down a branch of the game tree that we shouldn't. Like, as I said, I do recognize that, but we're gonna go down it anyway and see what happens. So yeah, you can see that you know, checking back here is reasonable, and being happier to go for the bet when you have the jack of clubs more frequently. And even, I mean, to be fair, like queen jack off with the queen of clubs looks like it's checking back, yeah, quite a lot of the time, especially queen of clubs, jack of spades is going for a check 61% of the time. So yeah, I don't think it's a bet all the time. There is, you know, between small and medium, so like 40 and 80%. No geometric sizing. So as I said, on this turn, I didn't think it was going to be a thing, which is why I didn't bet that size. But you can see it's mixing between small and big. So yeah, we went for this size. He calls. Interestingly, he has 10-6 of clubs, which is not even in this range. So he's opening pretty wide from the hijack. And the river's the jack of spades. He checks. And you can see again, like, so you guys were spot on. We should just be checking back this on the river. So shout out to you guys. I think you know, nailed this spot really, really well. And I made a massive blunder. But you can see that if we do have queen jack with a club, we do get to rip this river, which is cool. But yeah, I think the other big takeaway is the fact that like we rip this river or check, right? These smaller bets are used a little bit of the time, but not really that much at all. So we're gonna jam when we have a flush, and which is great because, you know, he's got 10-6 of clubs, so we get loads of value, obviously against his exact hand, but you know, think about his range as well. And then we actually get to, yeah, we do get to jam king queen off as well if we did have it. But yeah, so I recognize now we're already down a tiny part of the game tree. We're now going to go even further just to see maybe if we can see what kind of hands anyone would potentially bluff in this spot. So you can see like just 0 combos. Like, I mean, to be fair, like this is nothing because we really shouldn't be getting here, but yeah, not doing anything with these hands. Okay. Again, like it's 0 combos, so I think that maybe we should. I'm almost like I don't really want to do the rest of this this game tree, but we are trying to find some potential bluffs. But You know, ace king, I don't think that's happening. Probably not doing that. Let's see if we can find any others. A little bit of raising, king 10 off. So yeah, I think we're struggling though, guys. I don't think that there just aren't any real bluffs in this spot. So yeah, I think the answer is there aren't any bluffs. So it's one of the, like, I've not seen many spots where Pio doesn't have any bluffs. I mean, you can see it had like a tiny amount, but I'm going to sound like I'm beating what the expression is, like a scratch record here. But we've gone down a line that really we shouldn't have done. So and that all started because he chose this big bet on the flop, which like you can see here, it's not happening very often at all. But yeah, well done to you guys. Yeah, shout out to Win Online Poker on YouTube. She says, deep study getting in on the 0.4 combos. You love to see it. So yeah, hopefully you've heard me for the last 5 minutes go on about how we're down a branch of the game tree that we shouldn't really be going down, and we get into this and it's like hardly any combos, and that how I really didn't want to go down here. But yeah, shout out to you for taking the time to basically call out something I was just trying to avoid. But okay, fair enough. Okay, question, is Pio Basic worth it or better to get Pro? Depends what you want to use it for. If you want to run scripts, so if you wanted to run solves over many different flops, for example, then you can you'll need the Pro version. Yeah, there's some info in the chat that says try GTO Plus. I've seen that used once. It looks pretty good. Like slightly, I mean, all the solvers are going to basically show you the information in a similar way to what we're going through here. But it's just going to be like what I guess what you can afford and what you want to use and what you think is good for what you want to do. If you just want to run hands occasionally, then I think GTO Plus would be good and Pio Basic would be good. But as I said, if you want to do scripts, I think GTO Plus can do that, and Pio Pro can do it as well. Cool. Okay, so let's go to the last hand after that absolute car crash of a hand. So this is just a very quick hand. It's a 3-bet pot, so we raise, we get 3-bet. We call. Flops Queen 6-3, check. He bets 7 big blinds, which seems a little bit on the big side. But we call with 8s with a spade, 9 of clubs on the turn, we check, and he just rips it, which I think is kind of weird. Not sure this is a thing. I don't think that he should be ripping here. I think smaller bet is much better. So yeah, the thing is, again, that I don't think the solver is going to jam on this turn. I think it's going to go, you choose a small size again. So yeah, try to keep in those comments, guys, about, we're going down a branch of the game tree that we 0.3 combos lands on the river kind of thing. So but yeah, let's have a look at it. And I think just like I'm not intending to call here. I think it's a very much a fold. But I think that it'd be good to know what kind of other hands we get to this point with. Like, do we have like a6 of clubs? Do we have 9x of spades? What's our worst value raise on the flop? Like that kind of thing. So lots to learn from this spot. Okay, so I just gave him one size because it's a really weird size. I think that he should maybe be using a smaller size. But just gave him one size and the jam, and you can see that he does do a decent amount of checking back. So these boards I think are quite interesting. Queen 6-3. I think generally speaking, the king high boards are going to be way better for the 3-better, whereas the queen high boards are going to be somewhat decent for us calling because we are going to have that ace queen advantage. But let's just confirm that because we just want to make sure. So you can see top pair here. This is in position. The 3-better has 12.2% of their range, and we have 17.2%. So you can see like we have the ace queen off advantage because we would we would just flat that, whereas we would jam, 4-bet jam ace king, whereas he would 3-bet ace king and potentially not 3-bet ace queen off all the time. So that's the first thing to look at. Equity wise, let's have a look. He's got a slight advantage here, 54%. But I think that if you did, you run this against king 6-3 instead, then in position's going to have, you can see all of the ace kings here. And, we do have some king x hands to defend versus the 3-bet, but not, the queen x1 is where it's really going to, you'll be able to see it a lot more frequently. So he bets, and we just have an easy call with 8s with a spade, doing a bit of calling as well with 8s without, although the EV is starting to be a bit grim, so just be wary of that. We also wanted to know on this board, what's our worst value raise? So queen x of spades just has so much equity here that we're just going to go for a check call, but then queen jack of hearts, you can see queen 10 suited, a bit of queen 9, king queen off, ace queen as well, is doing quite a lot of raising. And I think one of the common mistakes that I see is people just going for a check call here, like, but we, if we check raise and our opponent jams, we're going to be getting it in against aces and kings, and we don't want to do that, right? But I think you're going to be getting it in against other hands. You're going to be getting value from other hands as well, not just, So what I would say is don't just think about, okay, we're not getting, we only ever get it in against better, because I don't think that's true, and there's still plenty to get value from with these hands as well. Let's see what we're doing with, we don't really have too much 5-4, you can see 0.2 combos. Let's have a look at flush draws then. We're doing some check raising here with some flush draws, and then check calling others. You can see queen x is going for the check call, and calling with a lot of these as well. And we'll ignore those. We just don't have them very frequently at all. So we go for the call, and the turn was the 9 of clubs. We go for a check, and so I said, I don't think you're supposed to jam this this turn, right? So you can see that, for some reason he did. The one hand that really stands out here, probably exactly what he had, is pocket kings. But even so, it's happening a tiny amount of the time. This is normalized, so you can actually see it. He doesn't have what would that be, 80% of his. He's not jamming 80% of kings there, right? So you can see he's mainly going for this this small bet in this spot. So versus that small bet, we would be still continuing with pocket 8s, which I think is pretty interesting. Versus the jam, you can see, guys, this is what I was talking about earlier. We now at 0.69%, it's he's not supposed to do this. Probably not going to give us a decent result. We can just eyeball it quickly, I guess, to see 8s is a fold. Yeah, that's fine. But then some of the other hands, I'm just not sure we really want to take too much into this. So I think the biggest thing is about knowing what your range looks like going into the turn. I don't think I would fold a6 of clubs and 9x of spades. We do a decent amount of raising with 9x of spades. I guess we still have queen 9 to call, but all queen 9s. So we call with all of our queen x. I think that makes sense. The ones that we haven't check raised, we're folding, some hands here. We do just let go of the flush draw against this big bet. But again, like I said, we've gone down a branch that it's probably not going to give us a decent result. So I think the key thing here is knowing what to continue versus the c bet, not just seeing pocket 8s as an underpair in the 3-bet pot and thinking he's probably got aces, let's fold. So just be conscious of that, be aware of that. Let's just run through what we're supposed to continue on the flop, and then we can wrap things up. So sets are just going to go for the call. Top pair, we do some raising and some jamming. Actually, that's something I didn't even discuss already, but we are doing some jamming. Under pairs mainly going for a call, a little bit of raising or jamming with 7s. I guess 7s has benefits from more protection by just ripping sometimes, and there are obviously more overcards that can come sevens rather than nines, for example. So that's probably potentially why the solver's choosing it to do that. 6x just going for the call mainly. We've got some third pairs going for the call, favouring having a spade in your hand. Low pairs, again, calling twos with a spade, but folding everything else. Ace highs then, going for some check raises with the flush draws. We'll have a look at those in a little bit. But then once we get up to the top, we're actually just going for some calls with these ace-x to spades and ace-x to clubs hands. So let's have a quick look at equities. You can see there's a big drop off with these compared to the very top. So these hands, just solver believes, are just clearly just good enough to go for a check call. Question from Twitch: I take it the jamming is really for equity denial? Yeah, I think that's equity denial and value, and value and protection. If you want to describe sort of protection as equity denial, I think that would be okay. So king highs going for a check raise with so it's like delinearly, if that's a word. Camus, thanks for the follow. We are very, very close, guys, to 2,500 followers. So shout out to you guys. If you, oh, there we go. We might have just done it, guys. Might have just hit 2,500. On my system, it still says 2,499, but we just had a few follows come in there as well. I just live here. Crustis77, MPTY8. Thanks for the follow, guys. Really appreciate that. Smuckley Powell, thanks for the follow that's about to come up on your screen. Don't know why it's come up on my screen early. So there we go. And we must have hit 2,500 now, I guess. But I'll keep going. Anyway, Win Online Poker has said, incredible content as always. Genuinely think there is an argument for paying you not to post or share this content. Yeah, well, I mean, I do keep quite a lot of the premium stuff behind a paywall. So thanks it's a nice segue, Win Online Poker. Thanks for doing this. If you're interested in any of the premium content, then you can go to classroom.mttpokerschool.com to access them. And there are individual modules for lots of different spots. So what I like to do in these study sessions is just do a lot of different spots. It's like a 3-bet pot here. We had a spot versus like out of position as a preflop raiser. We had what else? I don't even remember. 1 second. See if I can just remind myself. Oh yeah, we had in position as a caller in 2 spots as well, and yeah, definitely butchered some of those. So let me just pull this spot. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were talking about the Queen 6-3 board. So yeah, so if you're interested in like one specific spot, I'm a really big proponent of like focusing on one specific spot and getting really good at that spot. So for example, things that happen time and time again, like raise first in or big blind defense or post flop versus the big blind, like in position, like those things happen time and time again. And I've got individual modules for those. So if you're interested, just check it out, classroom.mttpokerschool.com. If you want to sign up for MTT Game Changer, which is my group coaching program, and you get access to 4 live interactive webinars every single month. Plus we have a Discord channel where you can share hands, support each other, and we've got a growing community in there, and I think it's going really, really well. So if you want to join that, then go to mttpokerschool.com/game changer. If you didn't catch any of those links, then just go to mttpokerschool.com and everything that you will ever need is on there. If you're interested in private coaching as well, you can check out the link to apply for coaching too. Okay, cool. So I've got some questions in here. Krusty says, thanks for the content, dude. You're welcome. I appreciate that comment. Q-Tunneler, when the solver says he doesn't do this or have that, I just wonder if he knows that. At lower stakes, I just don't trust solvers without some info that he plays solid. Am I looking at it wrong, just using GTO as a baseline but needs some reads? I think, so basically all of my tournament poker training content and the coaching is about developing really solid fundamentals. And you can see that like we're all still learning. Like I butchered some spots here. Like, so the idea is that I want to be able to give you the tools to be able to study these situations yourself and develop better and more solid fundamentals. So I think, you know, you need those fundamentals in order to work out how you're supposed to exploit. Like if you don't know what someone's supposed to do in a solver world, how do you know that someone's not doing what they're supposed to do? You know, how do you identify leaks or weaknesses? So I think fundamentals are really important, and the sort of solver-based approach to begin with, I think is really, really important. So we have hit over 2,500 followers, guys. Shout out to you. I really appreciate the support. Let's see some more comments. What do you reckon the guy's hand was in the 8-8 hand? Probably like pocket kings. That's my best guess. And comment CNS Dota. I think microstakes are more based on exploitative plays. Players are really polarized there, and that turn shove probably previously is a good example. It's good to play GTO, but even better to have notes on players. Absolutely, yeah. So I think going for the like building those really solid fundamentals and knowing what to do in lots of different situations is really good. And then you can deviate. Like you've got to note that this guy never ever folds river. Once he calls turn, he never folds river. Well, then, you know, if you're not going to bluff too frequently, if ever, in that situation, but you're just going to value bet much thinner. So there's a, you know, just that's a really like, you know, really general sort of blanket statement for how to exploit that player, but you know, you guys get the idea. You need to know the baseline in order to be able to deviate. Cool. Okay, so I think that's going to wrap things up for today's stream, guys. 60 minutes at 6. As I said before, I'm not sure Thursdays is going to happen just yet, but check out social media. So definitely follow us on Twitter, MTT Poker School on there, Instagram, MTT Poker School, Facebook, MTT Poker School, and I think might be it. Check out the YouTube channel as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, go over to YouTube and check out the YouTube channel. Loads of free strategy on there. They've got the highlights from every Sunday stream that I've ever done, I think. And then the study stream highlights or study stream replays as well. So if you really enjoyed this and you want to see more, YouTube is going to be the place to go. And I think that's going to be it. And I know that lots of you have followed today, so I really appreciate that. Thanks for being here. If you haven't done so yet, hit that follow button. And until next time, guys, which might be Sunday, 10 a.m. GMT for the live play and explain, then yeah, take care and I'll see you soon. Cheers.